Hello,
Yes, Luana, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. And you?
Yes, I am happy to hear your voice. Are you ready for the class?
Yes, I am ready.
Okay.
Um,
And was it difficult to solve the homework exercise?
no, it wasn't difficult. I'll explain. So share.
Okay.
Are you able to see my screen?
I know it takes time, so let me ask you a few questions before we move on. I mean, until the screen is able to come up here. So let me know, do you know the word global?
Global.
Yeah, I mean in programming, definitely not in the in the general
Yeah.
language. Yeah. So global in programming, do you know what is its effect? So when do
Yes,
you, okay,
I
did
do
I
know.
yeah, tell me.
I do know about global variables.
Okay, so when do you use a global?
When you want to use it outside of the function and not only within the function, or else, because if it's a local variable, once the function runs, it won't be stored.
Okay. And if you have a variable that is defined in the main and you want to change its content, do you need to use the word global inside a function?
If it's in the main and you want to use it where, sorry?
In the function. So you want to change the content of the variable inside a function. Would you use the word global inside the function or no?
If you want to change the contents, then I don't think so.
Okay,
Would
then
you?
okay. So let me just remind me immediately after we do this part. After you explain to me what you did here, then we can just take a single slide just to remind you of that. Make sure that you have a deep understanding of this. Um, Okay, so why? Because sometimes some answers for the exam questions, you might need to use global. It make your life a bit easier. Now, explain to me, please, what you're doing here. Luana, I think you need to unmute your mic.
Yes, sorry, I forgot.
Mhm.
I was saying that I found two different ways. At first, I used the nested for loop. Then I realized that I could just use one for loop, which is here.
Uh-huh. Okay. And yeah, allow me to understand, please, what is this for? Why we need to use two for loops?
Yes, that was a mistake that I made because I made
Ah,
this
I
mistake and
got
then
it.
I realized that I can use just one for loop here,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
both don't
Okay.
work.
Got it. Yeah, 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 yeah. Got it. So that is, yeah, that's the correct way. Yep. Okay. That is good. So you managed to make but you use name in names. Here, yeah, this is the correct way. Yep. Yeah, that's correct. Okay, that's good. Excellent. So let me share. Hmm. I think you can see my screen. Okay. Okay, so I think you can see. So I would like to confirm your understanding here. So why do we need to put global here for the variable that's called counter? So
Uh,
counter,
can I try to explain?
yes, please. Yes.
Because we will use it outside of the function. So we need to store it as a global variable.
Okay. So actually, you mean if I remove this, I'm not able to use the counter?
Mm, when you run the function, I mean, when you call the function, it will say that counter is
Defined.
not
No,
defined. Yes.
no, 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 no.
Won't?
So yes. So actually, inside add, you are able to print and you are able to change the counter variable values, but this changes is a temporary changes. Why? Because if you did not write global, he will make a copy from that variable and then he will start to use it inside the function. And once the function, you exit the function, you are no longer using the function anymore. The copy of the counter will actually be demolished from the memory. So it means that it will have no presence. But when you mention the word global, so he will not create a copy from the counter variable, he actually will make the changes to the global variable that's called counter. So when he increment one to the counter variable, it will actually, once you exit this and you print counter, it will print one. But if he did not put global, you can still change it. It will not give you an error, but it will not return its content. It means that you're supposed to see here one. So we will store one inside the counter. So why? Because he is saying add one to the current content of the counter. So this will give me typically one. Okay. So this
Okay.
one will be stored inside counter if you put global. If you don't put global, he will still store it to another copy of the counter, but it will not affect that. I think, did you understand it or you still, I mean, I think you have some idea, but
I understand.
okay. So do you mind, please? Can you, I mean, that will not take so much time from you, but I would like you to refer to that again. So can you please write it?
Okay. It prints one.
Okay. So I would request you, please comment that line and run again.
It says cannot access local variable counter where it is not associated with a value.
So did it refer to this or it refer to this?
It referred to line here it says
Are you able to
line
share,
five.
please? Yeah, let
Okay.
me
Here.
see. Mhm. So it does not accept that you, interesting. So we need to maybe pass it as an input here. I got it. Okay. So it is true that, um, hmm, let me think. Yeah, it's true. We are not able to increase one. Yeah, we are not able to increase one to a counter that is not initialized. So, let me think then how we can, yeah. I think you are confused. Are you?
I'm confused. No, I'm not. I understand why it gives this error.
Okay, why?
Because, okay, So we initialize the counter outside of the
Yes,
function
yes.
and we added it within the function, but since it's a local variable, we can print it here.
No, the error is not in the printing, and you will never face an error in the printing. The error is not in the printing because here this is already defined in the main. It is still defined outside the function. The problem is, the problem is, so actually you are not able, you did not initialize the variable that's called counter that is inside the function. You did not initialize it. He does not recognize that you are referring to the counter that is here. He is thinking that this counter is local variable to the add.
Yes,
So
that's what I was trying to explain because it's initialized outside of the function.
yes, so he create no connection between this and this. So if you come here and if you write counter equal 0, he will accept that. So now run, it will run. So okay, I mean, okay, no, never mind. Let me tell it in another way so that we can make differentiate. Put here 5 instead of 0. Now run. So here still comes 0. Why? Because the global is never touched. Yes, we create a similar variable, but it's created inside the function. And we initialize it to 5. And I'm able to add, I mean, this plus 1, it will say add to the current content of the counter 1. So if you don't have it initialized, he's not able to add 1 to it. So if I tell you, let me see. If I tell you there is 10 bounds inside this envelope. No, I should, that is wrong. If I tell you open this envelope and add to its content 1 bound, and I did not show you where is the envelope. So there is no way for you to add 10 to the content of the envelope. So I need to show you the envelope first, and you know its content, and then you can add 10 to it. So when we didn't put that, so we did not initialize the variable, so he cannot add 1 to it. But when I put it 5, so he will be adding 5 plus 1. So that's why he didn't complain about this. And this 6 that appears here never affect the global. I mean, did I manage to make it clear or I confused you?
Oh, I understand. If we put global here, then it will print 6.
Uh,
Or will it not?
wait. If we put global here, we don't need to initialize the local variables, which means that I can remove this part because it's already initialized to 0 here. So, yep, you can run. So by doing so, he will add 1 to it and we will print, when we print counter here, we print 1 because he take the 0 from the global and he add 1 to it, it become 1. And he store it where? He store it in the global, in the main. Okay? Did I
Okay.
manage? I mean, is it still
Yes.
confusing?
No, it's not.
Okay. Hopefully it will stick to your brain. Okay. So I will try my best to find a way to give you exercises on that. And other than that, please stop. I need to give you one more thing before we move to something totally new. So I think you already see my, okay, that is, I think it's done here. One more thing I need to highlight to you. Okay, so I think you see my code. It's very important that we understand this try and accept. So when we read a file, there is a possibility that this file does not exist. So can you understand what this file is doing? This lines, I apologize, these lines. Can you understand this 1, 2, 3, 4? Is it
And
possible that you tell me what this
then,
line does?
and then you read, it says, So the function push data that pushes data inside an array, is that
Yes, assume that. So assume that this function does this thing. But I want you to have a look at the general um, outcome or general look of this code. So this code, this is just a normal for loop. We have seen it before. Here you are opening the file for reading, but I want you to see this. This is the main thing here. Try and accept. So if you're trying to read a file that does not exist, you will have an error. And for us to recover peacefully from the error without exiting the code, so if I call this read data, this read data, as you can see, it is a method. I can call it. So I can call it inside the main. And if I want to continue, so assume that there is a print statement after we call this method. And this saying like, okay, file read. So whatever it is, it doesn't matter to us, but we just want to say that after I try to read the data, I will print immediately or even execute this file, this line. So if I face an error here, which means that it caused an exception, it will show that we did not find the file, and it will point the execution of the program will halt, and then it will tell me that this line have an error because we do not have this file. Okay, so if we don't have this file and we did not try and accept, it means that this error will cause the program execution to halt. We do not want that. So how we solve this? By putting try and accept. So if he faces an error here, he will not continue these lines. He will just come here, execute that line, which is file not found, and continue the execution of the remaining of the program. I think this need a little bit um, test from your side. Please try to write this code.
okay?
So every time that you try to open or open a file for reading or writing, preferably you try to put them in try and accept.
It doesn't output anything, but is it because the function push data doesn't exist?
Okay. Can you share so I can tell you? Okay. First of all, it doesn't output anything because you define the function, but you never call it. So I would recommend get this function name, copy it down here. Write read data. Yes. And then come here under it, please. Wait. Write a print statement. Write end, for example. Between double quotation, write end. Print end. Okay, that's good. End. END.
Oh, and
Yeah, end. Yeah. Okay, that's good. Okay, can you please wait? Give me a second, please. Can you get this name and come here, right? Define push data. Okay, and take L inside. Put L inside. Yes, in between here. Yes, put L. Come here, press enter. Write pass. Pass means that we don't care. Press enter, please, a few times. Yep. So we don't care about this definition at the moment. I mean, it doesn't matter how we define this function. We care about the main structure of the code. So we write here pass. He will call the function. Once he find pass, he knows that we are delaying defining the function to later because we want to test our code first. Okay. So that is you are able to do. Now run, please. So now did you see what happened? He
yeah.
managed, he run, and he doesn't complain that push data doesn't have anything. It doesn't matter. He call it, he find pass, he return back again. But the point here that he tell us file not found. So he actually execute that. He come here, he found that there is an exception, and he find there is an exception handler. This is called exception handler. Okay, now try to come here, comment try and comment except and comment print. Or give me a second. That will complicate the thing a bit. Uncomment try and copy the whole function. So copy this whole function here from 1 until 8. And then, yep, put it above. Yes, good. Control C. I would say, yep, okay. So please here call read data 1. Right here, read data 1. So we need to rename the function with a different name. So right here, here. Okay, and now also here, make it read data 1. He will complain a bit, but we will see. So remove totally try.
What? Sorry.
Try.
Okay.
And remove these 2 lines. Okay. Now he might complain about indentation, and he might also got another complaint. Try to run. Okay, so he said that data 1 is not defined. Take these 2 and move them down. We need to define the function before we call it. Okay. So, yep. Now run. Okay. Can you tell me? Can you read first where he said that there is an exception? Let me see. So he have in line 22, he said that when he's trying to call read data, he faced an error in line 17. Where is line 17? Here. So why he is complaining about line 17? He is saying file not found error. This is called no such file or directory, because we know that stack data, we did not create a text file, or we don't have a text file that's called stack data. He tried to call it, and then he did not print end. So it means that he halts the program execution just because he did not find this file. And where is the error? On line 17. But why he didn't do the same here? Because we put try and
Right.
accept.
So this code would be good if you wanted to see if like a file exists or not. You wanted
Yes, one of the ways, is to do that and make sure that your code behave professionally and does not throw errors to the user in this way. This is unprofessional code. We don't want our code to behave like that. So our code should always, whenever we're reading files specifically, we try to always use try and accept. Okay, so is that clear?
Yes, it is
Okay,
clear.
then off, and I need to share something else. So it is in our hand that we are actually able to raise an exception. So, okay, this is a different way to actually, how to say, I'm not sure, should I tell you this or it will confuse you, but let me try. So this is also a try and accept, but this is a different type of error that we're going to face. So here I ask the user to input something, and then I strip, and then I convert it to lowercase. So I strip it from spaces before and after, and then I said lower whatever the user input. He put capital. I change it to lower, okay? And if there is a space that the user put, it will also strip it, means that it will remove all the spaces. We will store the result inside choice. But if we check and make a condition that the choice is actually equal nothing, so if the user enter nothing, then I will raise an error. No input provided means that the user input nothing. He does not, we expect him to put a letter, but he did not. So when I say raise, it will immediately come to execute these lines. This is new to you, I believe. You never see something like that before.
No.
So okay. Sometimes we want the user to, so we put some code here that really needs the user to input something. If the user does not input something, then might be we want to really not continue executing whatever under these lines of code. So whatever under 1 and section 1, there is something that really depends that we already enter an input. And the code will not execute properly if we don't see an input. So if the user does not input anything, we need to divert the execution to a different part of the code, which is to print the error to the user without halting the execution. So, okay, this part can be inside the while loop. So can you see here, please? So this is while true, okay? And the while true say that we would like to try to get an input from the user. And if the input is actually equal nothing like that, we would like to halt the execution, but we would like to come here, execute these lines, but we still want to be inside the loop. If this part is only catching errors. If there is no errors, you come here, and if this is false, you will immediately break. So what do you mean by break? It means I break the while loop. So I will go outside the while loop. So I recommend you, please, I'm sorry, that is, I know that is new to you, to really try to make it work and try to understand it deeply. I would recommend to write it, please.
Okay.
Is it still confusing? I mean, is it, you understand 50%?
Yes, I do understand.
Okay.
In this case, we could also use in the if statement, we could also use a function that checks if it's a letter or not.
Definitely, yes. Is a digit or a letter? Yes, we can do that. Yes. What's the issue?
But there's no issue. I'm just finishing writing. Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, so did you try to run? I think it's better to share.
Okay.
Outside the while loop, I recommend you to actually write also one print statement so that we know that this is already just also right end. Okay. Yeah, now run, please. So you run, press enter only without anything. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So you reached end because you already put something. And please here totally empty means that two um two double quotation without even a space in between.
Can I put a space? Sorry.
No space. Remove
Space.
everything. So not even a single space in between. Yes. So now don't put anything, just press enter. Okay, I want you to see that this was printed out. I mean, yeah, you raise the exception, no input is provided, and we came here, we printed that. You only here, just watch out. Here you said raise, okay? You raised the value error exception, but you did not print that error, okay? You just pass it here as a E, and here you print the E, okay? So it means, okay, I want you to do another one. So can you come here, say, inside here, write error, double quotation, comma, and E. So you change that. I just want to confirm that you understand that, yeah, comma, E. Yep. Now run, press enter. So now did you see? Here, there is no word error. So I just wanted to show you that this line is the one responsible for printing this. So this will call this exception handler, and it will pass E, no input is provided as a text, and we're going to print that E here, plus our text here. And then when we come to continue, it means that we will go up to continue the while loop, which means I will ask another input from the user. Press enter again without entering anything. Yes. Okay. So you will continue being inside the loop until you enter something inside. If you did not, if you press enter again, you will still be inside the loop and you will never exit. Can you press enter? Okay. So as you see, we're still running inside the while loop and we are waiting for input from the user. So if you press A, for example, if you put A and press enter, then we exit. Now, did you understand the code and how it works?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Okay, then that's good. Please stop. So I will provide you with more exercises about handling files, reading and writing files, because that is actually, yeah, important part, especially in the exam. And let me try to go to something that I think you need to know a bit earlier than be putting it at the end. So this comes towards the end, this chapter, but I need you to actually, it's very important that you understand it from now because it will take time for you to digest it. So we're going to talk about object-oriented programming. Did you hear about that before?
The name sounds familiar, but I don't really know what it's about.
Okay, let me see here. So we call it here object-oriented programming. So this object-oriented programming, it is just, of course, I need to give you an introduction, and just let me put it this way. It is a try to bring things from the real world into software. So if we talk about, do you know booking.com? Did you ever use booking.com?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so booking.com have maybe thousands of hotels, not if not millions, around the whole world. And if we want to represent a hotel in software, so we will actually write a lot of lines and we have to input a lot of data. So every hotel have number of rooms, and every hotel have a name, and every hotel have maybe I would say
Amenities.
star rating. It have maybe pricing. It have let me say rating from the customer. Okay, so we can say there is a rating. They have different type of rooms, and they have room count. So maybe they have double rooms, maybe they have 100, and from single rooms they have maybe 50, and maybe they have let me think, they have maybe a version or maybe how to say branches from this hotel in 2 or 3 different places in the country or even the city. So there will be a lot of information that we can store about the hotel. Okay, so this is a try that we bring something from the real world and we want to put it in software. So when they decided to make booking, they needed to design the software. They needed to bring the hotel and make it available for programmers and users to enter the data about the hotel. The hotel also have an address. Okay, and there is other more information about every hotel, and every room might have pictures, and we will have pictures also for the main hotel. Okay, main building of the hotel, and every room of those will have its own pictures. So we have a lot of data to enter. So imagine if we want to create variables for every hotel, and each hotel will have variables that need to be named different from other hotels. That would be catastrophic, because if we have thousands of hotels, imagine that around the world, maybe there is 2,000 hotels. So can you imagine that? So this all need to be stored in variables. Imagine that for each hotel, maybe we need 20 variables just as a minimum, 20 variable for every hotel. Can you imagine if I have 200,000 hotels, I multiply it by 20 variable for each, that will create huge amount of variables that we need to create. And every time we add a new hotel to our software, we need to create 20 variables to accommodate the information that is related to the hotel, and we store it in our program. So that is tedious. That is almost impossible. Nobody is able to create different variables with different names in the memory or inside the program just to represent the hotel. Okay, what about if we have a TV and we want to represent the TV inside our program? The TV have maybe channels. It have how to say sound level. It have many other things that we're able to, the model, the company that fabricated it, the warranty. We might also have the size of the screen. There is a lot of information that we can put. What if we talk about millions? We are talking about, we want to make a software for Samsung to keep track of every single screen that you already produce. That will be a tedious job because we have to create a lot of variables. And that's not something easy. We want a way that we can design to make a design for the TV and make, we say this TV maybe have 7 main variables. And then we make the computer automatically create these 7 variables with different naming without our intervention. so that if we want to make millions of TV, we don't have to worry that each one of those variables have to be a different with a different name. Okay, so that is part of how we should also look into the object-oriented programming. So we need to create a code that help us to develop software a bit faster. It help us to make use of our code in different programs. So if you use hotels to make booking.com, but there is also another website that we do booking. So there is Agoda. Did you hear ever about Agoda?
I've heard of Aguda.
Okay, so both of them, so might be one company that developed the booking.com, got also maybe contracted to build another software for another company similar to Agoda, for example. Okay, so they don't need to rewrite the software again because, okay, they created a design for something called a class that represent hotels. So they are able to, when they make another software project close to the booking, they are able to reuse part of the software that they designed before. So that is one of the important features and usefulness for object-oriented programming. I know that this is at the start, it's a bit tricky, but little by little, I will try to clarify as much as I can. Now, did you take records in pseudocode?
Yes, I did.
What do you know about records?
Record is a type of like data structure that can
Okay.
allow you to store uh
Multiple pieces of
multiple different
So,
kinds of data. That's what I wanted to say.
okay, that's good. So I would say if we have a record, if we want to make a record for a product, so we will make maybe a variable called product name, product price, expiration date, and a diary product. So this will be a Boolean, this will be a date, product price definitely can be having a decimal point. So we'll create it real. Product name can be always be a string. It doesn't need to be a number. So records is very, very close to classes or to object-oriented programming. It is a step that we are able to make us understand more object-oriented programming. Do you know subroutines? I think we have seen functions, we have created it, and definitely this is in pseudocode, right?
Yes.
Okay, so inside object-oriented programming, when we design something called classes, and an example class would be the hotel class, we will use records and we will use subroutines. Let me share with you how are we going to do that. So here, we're not talking about the hotel specifically because the hotel is a big software class, but let us talk about a product. So just now we saw that the record product contains some information. So let us look. This is in Python. We are designing, we're trying to simulate the presence of a product from real life. We put it in a software. So we created variables for this product. This is a general thing. It can be milk, it can be coffee, it can be tea, it can be anything. So the basic structure of making a software for a supermarket is a product. So either it's a supermarket, hypermarket, or whatever selling shop that we make, it's still able to use the product, the class product. So we have, for the product, we have a name, we have a price, we have a quantity, okay? And we make a function. So we divide our classes into functions like this. We make a function called display info. This display info is going to print out the product name, the product price, the product quantity, and we are also able to calculate the total. So if we multiply the price of the product with the quantity, then it means that we are able to represent the end user with a price that you should pay for when they are buying a specific product. So the first recommendation I do in this darkness that we are seeing, typically when you the first time that the people hear this, they will be totally blur. So I understand that is acceptable and is normal. So I would say, please duplicate your current files and write class product.
Okay. Okay, I'm done. Should I call each function individually, or can I just use the name
Okay.
class product to call it?
Allow me to, can you share so that I can tell you how we can use that?
Okay.
Okay. So this is a class, and we would like to come at the bottom, create P1 equal, and write this product. So P1 equal product, and open a bracket. Okay. So as you can see here, this product need to have name, price, quantity. So say the first one is coffee. This is for the name. The price is maybe 100. And then the quantity maybe 1. So write them here. Write this inside here. Don't forget the comma. Yep, that's correct. Yes. I just want you to make sure that this, we don't have brackets here when we are creating a class. So just, yeah, okay. So let me check. Did you put the product correct? Yes, I believe correct. So come here, press enter, and then create P2.
What should I write?
You put milk, and then 50, and then put 2. Okay. Just let me try to tell you here, you are missing here 1 underscore, here 1 underscore. Okay. So once you did that, the error that was appearing here disappeared, right?
Where? Here?
No, I mean, last time there was an error underlining this product. So if you
Oh,
run, there will be nothing. So
okay.
yeah. So why? Because, okay, I would say come here at the bottom, right? P1 dot display info, and yes, okay, that's good. Now run, please. Okay, tell me what do you see and what do you understand from what you're seeing here?
Okay, so it takes the first function, which stores the self one, which stores all of them. But under self, there's name, there's the price, there's the quantity, and you give them variable names.
Mhm.
So if you want to display, then there's display info, the function, which prints this. It prints the product and whatever name is under the variable name.
Mhm. Okay,
And you print the price, whatever variable is under that price, and the quantity. And if you want to return the price, you have to call this function.
okay. So, okay, this we call it constructor. When do you call this function? When you first create or call the class name, which is this, we call the class name, and then we pass it some parameters which correspond to the number of parameters here. These 3 lines is indicating that the one with the self here is indicating that this is variables that I define and initialize inside the product class. So this will be always with us on and storing information from us. Okay, I created two products. I created two variables from the class project. So the variables that I create from classes is called objects. So P1 is an object. It is object for the coffee that represents the coffee. P2 is an object that represents the milk. And this is, again, we're trying to simulate what is happening in the real world. So can you please copy that line and put it here, but put it P2 dot display info. Is that difficult? Now run, please. So if you notice here, we have this information and we still have another set of information. Yeah, that's good. Excellent. Yeah. So that will give you space, right? Okay. So what I want to say that I did not create two copies from these three variables. I only designed the class, which is called product, and I'm able to create many objects from that design, and the Python will do the job for me, which is to create a separate set of variables, these three variables. It will create for every product that I create, which is P1 and P2, for example, a three set of variables that are carry different information. Here, it carries a coffee, and here it carries the milk. Can I create more products? Yes, I can. Millions of products I can create. So I created the design of the class, but I can use it million of times. Did I need to create a million of variables? No. The one who does this for me is a Python. I just need to only understand how this is done and how I design the product. And if I know that, I can instruct the Python to make copies from these variables inside the memory dynamically for me. So this is beautiful, but it is very hard to understand at the start. But once you understand it, you put your leg into the software programming in a very easy way. Just it's at the start is difficult. Tell me, did you manage? I mean, what you understand from me now, is it 50% or more or less?
More than 50.
More than 50, but there is still question marks that you have.
No, not right now. Maybe when I'm doing a question, maybe I'll have a question, but as of right now, I don't have any questions.
Okay, so we will end our class now. We have a class tomorrow.
No, it's on Thursday.
Um, yeah. Sorry, I apologize. Yes, true.
Okay.
Thursday. Yeah. Then see you on Thursday. Take care.
Thursday. Bye.
Bye bye.